Hi, I'm Dave Cut, and you're watching another Comic Chat. What up, guys? Back again today. Do you know Dracula's story in the Marvel Universe? Because I didn't. Let's dive in. His real name? Vlad Tepes Dracula. Occupation? He's the ruler of Earth's vampires. His base? Vampirsk, or the Chernobyl exclusion zone. His height? 6'5". His 6'5". Damn, he's tall. His weight, 220 pounds. Eyes red. Hair white, formerly black. His first appearance was The Tomb of Dracula, #1, in April of 1972. It's definitely been around for a while. His powers, of course, are always the same. He drains blood from victims by biting them, enabling him to control their wills. Those who die become vampires. He has superhuman strength, virtual immortality, and cannot be killed by conventional means. He also transforms into a bat, a wolf, or mist. He can mentally control other vampires and mesmerize human beings. So yeah, he kind of has a lot of the same abilities as he does in all the myths and the fables. So he has a full page as we go through. Vlad Tepes Dracula was born in 1430 in Schasberg, Transylvania. The following year, his father, the Transylvanian nobleman Vlad Dracula, became prince of a nearby Wallachia. Dracula's father was later assassinated by other Transylvanians. Dracula, nevertheless, went through with the marriage his father had arranged with Zofia, a Hungarian noblewoman. After the birth of their daughter, Dracula put an end to their marriage. Sophia committed suicide, and her daughter would become the vampiress Lilith. That's pretty cool, just because they had a daughter, gets rid of her. And that leads us to the Impaler. Dracula regained the throne of Wallachia in 1456 and had those responsible for his father's assassination impaled. Hence, Dracula became known as Vlad the Impaler. He then married his second wife, Maria, who bore him a son, Vlad Tepes. And in 1459, Dracula was defeated in battle by a Turkish warlord, Turek, who mortally wounded him. Turek took Dracula to the Romani healer Leanda, who proved to be a vampiress who actually just bit him and killed Dracula, transforming him into a vampire. And after Turek murdered Maria, Dracula slew him and turned his son, Vlad Tepes, over to the care of the gypsies. By defeating the vampire Nimrod, Dracula then took his place as the ruler of Earth's vampires. The eldest vampire on Earth, Varane, enhanced Dracula's blood with his own before killing himself. As a result, Dracula became the most powerful vampire on the planet. So now he is the vampire of kings. And in 1890, Dracula moved to England but ran afoul of vampire hunter Abraham Van Helsing and his friends. They pursued him as he fled back to Transylvania and seemingly killed him. However, Dracula has repeatedly returned from his death. In modern times, Dracula's main foes have been Quincy Harker, the son of his two old enemies in UK, Rachel Van Helsing, Abraham's descendant, Frank Drake, Dracula's own descendant, and the vampire hunter Blade, the vampire descendant Hannibal King, and the monster hunter Elsa Bloodstone, of course. So increasingly, Dracula has become a global power play. He launched an ultimately disastrous invasion of the UK and later established a vampire kingdom called Vampirisk in the radioactive exclusion zone around the abandoned Chernobyl nuclear power station. From there, he plotted to harvest Wolverine's blood and use its healing factor to enable his dead legions to operate in daylight. When that plan failed, Dracula changed his tactics and asked the UN to recognize Vampirisk as a sovereign nation. And they agreed, but only on the condition that Blade stay stationed in the country to check on Vampire Lord's ambitions. Nice. So we can see in like the first little. So they got an old school picture of Dracula's most persistent modern adversaries, from Quincy Harker to Frank Drake to Rachel Van Helsing and Blade. And then at the bottom, we see that Dracula frequently dreamed of defeating the X-Men and claiming their mutant power for his vampire nation. Crazy. We got a couple essential storylines. So, of course, Dracula Lives, number 2 through 3, where Count Dracula first becomes a vampire, to the Tomb of Dracula, number 64 through 70. The Dracula becomes human again. After regaining his powers, Dracula and Quincy Harker die in their final confrontation. Interesting. And finally, in X-Men Curse of the Mutant Saga, Dracula's son, Zaris, kills him and then goes after the X-Men, who revive him to help save the world. So yeah, that was the story of Dracula. There's been a lot of stories told of him. This is the Marvel story. So let me know what you guys think. Until next time, have a good one.